There is something that you will encounter in your spiritual awakening that I really hope that you do not fall into. It is a pitfall, and it really should be a pit stop. And I'll tell you what the difference is between the two. A pit stop is coming to, say, something in your life and noticing that there's a change going on and a change must take place, right? This is your awakening. And with it, you realize that you are greater than what you are. So you make the necessary adjustments and you keep going. A pitfall is coming to this point of spiritual awakening and mistaking it for you being the only one. You don't try and make any adjustments. You realize the change is occurring within you. It is happening, but you don't try to do anything with it. And instead of trying to understand it and see it for what it is and then move on to the next stage, you stay in that state, you stay in that place thinking you are the only one. Like there's so many groups out there that speak about the chosen one, and people that support these groups think they're part of an organization, no different than a church, no different than a cult, and there's no difference between a church and a cult anyways. But they mistake themselves for thinking that they are the only ones. They are above everyone else, everyone is beneath them, and that they are the understanding that they have come to. And if they have come to it through the Bible, then they are God, they are Jesus Christ, they are exactly what it says, but they don't take it on the way it's supposed to be taken on, and they separate themselves from everyone else, and they think that it is them. It is a specific calling to that person, and they are that one that everyone is waiting for to whisk them off to Never Never Land. What can I say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Talk. This is Nick. Thanks for stopping by. As you saw in the beginning there, please reach out to that email address. Let's get together, do a Zoom call so I can share your stories here with everyone else. And let's build a community of like-minded individuals growing spiritually, evolving spiritually as one, and not separating anyone, but including everyone else that will come after us to this, this union of oneness. After all, there is only God in the world. There is no one else. This is a great big grand play, and we all play our parts in the play until we come to that moment of awakening. And we have horrendous, horrible villains, horrible situations, struggles and difficulties that we go through till we come to this point of recognizing we are greater than the horrible and the terrible and the conditions that are thrusted on us, you know? But I want to talk about like pitfalls, and specifically pitfalls, because this is a big pitfall that I've seen a lot of people fall into. And yes, some of these people have made headlines. You've seen them. They're cult members. One of the biggest ones is Jonestown. The other one is Waco, Texas, what happened there and everything. So, I mean, these are the pitfalls where people come to some sort of enlightenment. And really, the words are faulty. They're horrible. And there really isn't no words going on here. But we're trying our best in our human experience to also put to words our spiritual experience. So words are faulty. But these people come to a point of enlightenment, awakening. You know what I mean? And some of them through the Bible, because the Bible can very much act as a living piece of material. And I truly believe that it truly is. At one point or another, if you're going the route of the Bible, you will see that it doesn't make sense from the pulpit. And you'll see that words, images, revelations, mystical experiences will pop off the pages to you. And you will be a witness to the prophets, to the revelation of Jesus Christ. You will be a witness as that having taken place in you. And you will be able to testify that what is written in the Bible, you are a witness to and you have experienced. And really, it shouldn't be taught the way it's being taught in a historicity kind of way from the pulpit. It's false, it's wrong, and it is a cult kind of program. It is a cult mindset that has gathered and split itself up into denominations and gathered all the people that follow this certain, identify, I should say, with this certain denomination, identify with that denomination. That Jesus Christ belongs to this group of people. Another Jesus Christ belongs to that group of people. And it is all a cult mindset. And it is no different with the cults that people create for themselves when they come to this point of awakening and thinking that they are different than their brothers and sisters all around them, and think that they are separated and they are the one. And they fully believe this. And they start these organizations where they lead people into the forest or onto mountains or into some sort of secluded little town somewhere, and think that they can thrive and live on their own, until some people in that cult mindset start realizing that this is wrong, that I have just as much strength and power and am just as spiritual as my cult leader. Now, as you evolve and you grow spiritually, you have to leave behind all your spiritual teachers, all your guides and your gurus. You have to leave behind the physical Jesus Christ. As Paul said, I no longer conferred with flesh and blood, when it so pleased God to reveal his Son in me. So that takes place in you. When that revelation happens within you, you have to let go of a belief system that had you believing in a physical Jesus Christ. Same with your spiritual guides. If you have a spiritual guide in this world at this moment, at some time you have to become like the spiritual guide, like that prophet, like that poet. You have to become like that person, and you have to let go of that person. You can no longer see that person as a spiritual guide or guru to you. You have to become the thing, the spiritual being that you truly are. So the pitfall is that these people come and they wake up and they identify themselves as being the one. And I don't know what it is. They have a way with words. They're convincing in their words, and almost their voice and their words together are hypnotic to certain people. And they're able to convince them that what they're saying is the right thing, that they have to follow this person who believes he, she, they are the one, because that is what they've been taught and they believed. And that is what they have given their power over to, waiting for someone to come and rescue them and take them away, whisk them off to nirvana, neverland. And it doesn't happen that way. We don't go as a collective. There is no one that can gather you together except for the Spirit when it awakens in you. There is no one that can gather you together the way a hen would gather together her little chicks. There is no way. And there is no one that can wake you up. We already belong to one. We already are one. We are separated by the experiences of our identity and what we go through in the world. The programming, the condition, the struggles, the difficulties, the joys, the happiness, the loves, the disappointments, the murders, the chaos, the breaking down of the system. That is all thought-based reality. That is all a thought-based reality. We can't allow someone to come into our lives and tell us that they are the one. We cannot follow a group, a social media group that says that this group is the chosen one. Everyone else is left behind. We are the chosen ones. Like some sort of rapture exists. And it doesn't. There is no rapture that exists. The only rapture is that you have an appointed time to wake up. And maybe your wake up time is today. But your friend, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunts, your uncles, your relatives, all of those, their time may be in the next lifetime. It may be 10 years down the road. It may be 20 years down the road. We don't wake up as a collective. And to give your power away to someone who says they are the only one, that is giving your power away. That is you submitting to someone else, thinking that you are nothing but this little tiny being that is called a human being, and that the person who has convinced you and spoken so well with their voice, using their voice and their words in some sort of hypnotic sense, has cast a spell over you to make you think that they are the one. This person comes to a point of an awakening, and rather than investigating it, understanding it, accepting it, and then moving on to the next stage, as I said earlier, they limit themselves Literally, quite literally, by doing this, you are limiting yourself. You as an individual, well-spoken person who can hypnotize a crowd and have them follow you, are limited in this position that you hold because your position is temporary. Eventually, it's going to fall apart. It's going to break down. So rather than moving on after you've seen what you truly are and the greatness that is to follow, you stay in this position and you lead others astray, the blind leading the blind. I know this from experience because when it first happened to me back in 1994, between 1994 and 1995, one of the very first things I saw was that I was Jesus Christ. I saw this so clearly that Jesus Christ is in me, and my awakening is the awakening of Jesus Christ. I am no different than the Jesus Christ spoken of. And I thought this for the longest time. I remember even calling up my sister who I lived in the East Coast at the time, and she lived on the West Coast. And I was talking to her like I was on some sort of covert mission, on the telephone, thinking I had discovered something no one in the world had discovered. And I was telling her, hey, you know what? Man is God. Jesus Christ is man. Like, I had this profound experience, and I understand that I am Jesus Christ. Do you know what I'm saying? What followed for a period of 3 or 4 years after that was humiliation, disgust, also the idea that it didn't coincide with their belief system. And I was constantly ridiculed and made fun of, not by my family only, but by people that I spoke to about this. However, I was able to see through it. My pit stop was short-lived, and it did not become a pitfall. And I think this one moment in my life that it didn't become a pitfall, I had decided to go down to California for a week and just hang out, bum around. I went to Los Angeles. I went to Las Vegas. I was just traveling around the California coast for a week. I took the bus from the West Coast of British Columbia all the way down to the bus stop in Los Angeles, rented a room for a couple of days, walked along Hollywood Boulevard and whatnot. I then moved up to Nevada, Las Vegas, got myself a little motel somewhere for a couple of days, checked out some gambling, checked out some of the shows and whatnot. Then I ended up going back down to Los Angeles, getting on the bus, and coming back to Vancouver, British Columbia. Here's what happened. When I got to Seattle from Los Angeles, there was a delay on the bus, and I missed the Amtrak that was to take me to Vancouver. And so I had to spend the night in the bus station in Seattle. In the morning, when I woke up, I fell asleep on the chair and I woke up. And I woke up to my surprise, and I thought I saw someone in there that looked like Stephen King. Probably could have been Stephen King, I don't know. But it looked very much like Stephen King. And I was kind of blown away. I'm like waking up, and one of the first faces I see is Stephen King. And I went into the bathroom, splashed some water on my face, got all adjusted and everything, went back, took my seat, and I waited. While I was waiting for the Amtrak to show up, take me to Vancouver, at the bus station. The Amtrak's different. It's like a subway system. But at the bus station, while I was waiting for the bus to take me to Vancouver, I saw 5 police officers and 2 ambulance, what do you call them? Assistants or whatever, drivers, you know what I mean? And they had a young boy on a gurney, and it took all of these people to hold him down. And this young boy, who's probably about 18, maybe 19, maybe 20 years old, kept yelling and screaming, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" He was playing out the last act of the New Testament, of the Jesus Christ character. And he was yelling and screaming, and he was tormented. And I watched something like 5 officers trying to hold him down, and these 2 ambulance people holding him down. And I couldn't, paramedics, these 2 paramedics trying to hold him down. And I started getting cold in my face, my hands. This fear came over me. I was terrified. And at that moment, I realized what I had been saying, what I had been thinking. I realized that I wasn't greater than anyone else. That message of change and transformation occurs in every single person. And I nearly fell into the trap of believing that I was separate from every single person. I nearly fell into the trap thinking that I was it. And that wake up call at the Seattle bus station that morning really, really set it straight for me. That I was able to grease up the tires and do the oil change and quickly pass through as though it were just a pit stop for me. And I had a different outlook and a greater appreciation for the spiritual change taking place in me. Because prior to that, I would say it was all egoic. It was all ego, 100% ego, telling me that I was different than everyone else, that I was above everyone else, that I was chosen beyond anyone else, and no one else had the choice but me. It was me, and everyone else was just kind of like a little worm beneath me that I could step on. It is a trap and it is a pitfall. Make it a pit stop. Do not make it a pitfall. Because if you do make it a pitfall and you have a way with words and you are convincing and you can grab a collective group of people to follow you and your idea, and you separate yourself and that group of people from everyone else, all the brothers and sisters in the world, you are doing a disservice to yourself and you are leading people astray. It is a powerful message. It is absolutely a powerful message when you first come to it. It is unlike anything that you have heard from the church platform. Unlike anything that you have heard, because you have moved away from the church platform and you have decided to investigate this on your own, which is what I did. You know, I was almost 30 years old when I decided that I was going to investigate it. And what I saw, because prior to that, I had only seen the manifestation parts of the New Testament. Then when I actually seriously looked at that book, I was going through a change in my life. Things were just not right. Everything was rocky and it was like a roller coaster with me, and I didn't know what was going on with my life. And I chose to open that book, and it's like the words on the page just came alive. And not only came alive, it was like I was eating them and they were filling me up. It was like the best dinner that I ever had. Everything in there was all about me. I come in the volume of the words. It is written of me, you know, Psalm 40, I believe. I'll post it up here. And that book came alive and I saw it. And at the beginning, I didn't understand it. And I was trying to speak to people on the church platform and other people who had called themselves Christians and other people who said that the Bible comes alive and stuff like that. But none of them had the experiences that I had. I didn't know who to believe. No one believed what I was saying about seeing the things that I was seeing, having the dream experiences and the revelations that I was having. No one that I spoke to had them. And so the mind, the ego, the only Satan in the world, starts to move things around and create certain scenarios and makes you feel that you have risen above everyone else and that this is your moment. You are the one. You are the one that they've been waiting for 2,000 years. Nick, it's been you all along, you know? And you got to be careful with the mind. Everything that you do, you have to be constantly aware, because the mind will record everything. It will use it against you in the most terrifying and terrible ways possible. And some of those terrifying, terrible ways you won't even see. As you know, it says again in Matthew's verse that I said earlier, that even it might be possible that they fool the elect, those that have already awakened. You know, it might be possible to even fool the elect. And that's what the mind does. The only Satan in the world. That's what it does, is it watches everything. It creates scenarios for you. It builds you up and brings you to a place only to drop you down. And then you realize, man, this was a pitfall. This was a complete and utter pitfall. That's what this was. So you have to be careful of the pitfalls, right? Because one of the greatest pitfalls is this: to mistake yourself as being separate from every single person in the world. There will come a time where you will understand that separation. Make no mistake about it. And it'll come in your second spiritual awakening. There will come a time where you will understand that separation, and you will understand that you are everyone. But until that moment, you have this egoic quality in you. Every single person has it. Doesn't matter how strong or how weak they are, they all have it. And that egoic part of the mind is the part that fills you with terror and fear and anxiety and all sorts of nonsense, but at the same time also builds you up and creates you to be something that you are not. You know, it makes you feel superior, and you cannot allow that, although you will in your first spiritual awakening. And that's why I said, be careful of the pitfall. Be careful of the pitfall. There are many stories documented out there, if you want to see them, on people who have made this mistake and thought that they were the one. And that night, that morning, I should say, in Seattle was a rude awakening for me, but also a blessing at the same time. I cannot even begin to explain to you how terrified I was when I saw this young boy acting out the last part of the New Testament. You know, doesn't matter whose Bible or whose book you're reading. Doesn't matter if it's Luke's Jesus Christ, Matthew Jesus Christ, Mark's Jesus Christ, or John's Jesus Christ. That moment on the cross, when I saw this young boy acting it out, and trying to be subdued by so many people, and those people, those police officers and paramedics, were struggling to keep him down in that gurney. When I saw that's when I realized, hey, you know what? Quickly change the tires, change the oil, and get on your way. All right. You understand the message. You got it. Now here's an example of how false it could be and what it could lead you to. A gurney and heading straight to a sanitarium of some kind. You know what I mean? And that was a really, really important message. A blessing, as I call it. Yeah, it was a rude awakening for my spiritual journey at the time, because I thought I was it. The ego had led me to believe that I was it, because the ego masquerades as an angel of light. It can present itself as an angel of light and make you feel that you are doing the right thing. But that's what it looks for. Like a lion, as it says in the New Testament, lurks around like a lion, you know what I mean? To devour who it can devour. And that's all directed towards you. You always have to guard yourself, guard your heart, guard your mind, guard your thoughts. And most of all, choose your words that you are speaking. Absolutely choose the words that you are speaking carefully, you know? So the pitfall is to come to a spiritual awakening and to think that you're the only one. And you don't believe me? Investigate the groups out there that call themselves the chosen ones. They think they're separate from you. They think they're separate from every single person. They think that they are above you, and you are quite literally beneath them, and they're constantly stomping on you. I've tried to convince people of these groups. I've gone in and left comments, and I've been berated. I've been trashed. I've been, you know what? They just beat me up. That's all I can say. They just beat me up and told me to leave. You know, I was sharing my spiritual insight, and I was talking about my second spiritual awakening. Again, my ego would lead me to think that I'm superior to them because I've had a second spiritual awakening. But I tried to explain to them spiritual awakening. I tried to tell them that we are all one. There is no separation. If you have separation, you're not having a spiritual awakening. If you're still in that separation moment, you're not having a spiritual awakening. We are all one. But they wouldn't have anything to do with it. They are no different than the church. The church is all about like the nice clothes that I have, the nice face that I have. Look at how pretty I am. That is the church. Hey, let's go have coffee at the church. Hey, look at my brand new shoes at the church. Hey, look at the way that I can appear. You know, appearances is all with God, right? I mean, hey, God loves appearances. What more can I say? Just be careful of the pitfall, all right? Be careful of the pitfall. Everyone will have a spiritual awakening. And also, I just want to say this, too. The people that are separating themselves and think that they are above you, that is the experience they are having in the world. Don't knock them. Let them knock you. That's fine. It doesn't matter. You know what you know. You are what you are. And you are evolving and growing spiritually. So let them, or you know what? Don't even engage with them. I made the mistake of engaging with a couple of them, and they just beat me up and ran me out of their like group and whatnot. But you know what? Don't engage with them. You know for a fact that you are part of a oneness that has no separation. And these people like to think that they are part of a oneness that has separation. Therefore, oneness doesn't have separation, which means that these people that are separate from you and think that they are better than you are a cult. And everyone that follows them is giving away their power to them. Just as you did once upon a time when you followed the church and you believed the church until you investigated it for yourself and you saw it, you were part of a cult. These are all cult mentalities. These are all cult mindsets. These are all cult protocols, programming, and conditioning. And they are also the experience that you're having in the world. And as they're having the experience in the world, they are the actors playing the part that they set out to play in the world, just as you and me and every single person are playing a part in the world, including all of the evil in the world. And all of those people that you say are evil in the world, they are no different than you. They are different expressions of you. But as I said, there will come a time where you will understand separation and you will understand how there's only one in the world and everyone is a reflection of you. Till then, this is T-Talk. And remember, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Make yours a pit stop, not a pitfall. Later.